On a glorious day at the SCG, the Swans are certainly thriving. An opening quarter blitz, 7 goals, 4 from 15 entries, 121 disposals to 56. And the handball received numbers, 46 times they handballed to each other and received the footy to just 9 for the Brisbane Lions. So plenty to work with, you'd say, for the Brisbane coaches. A really tough opening for Michael Voss to try and deal with now.
Yeah, nothing's working, Spud, is it? I mean, it probably started a little bit at the, let's call it the Swans selection, because I think let's give the Swans credit for what they've been able to do out there. They really spread the defence of the Lions. They put the key the ruckman in the full forward line, which meant Merritt had to go to the ruckman and exposed Clark on Reid. Reid ended up kicking 2. Merritt got towed up by the ruckman. So that was probably the start of it, and they haven't been able to use the ball very well. They haven't got hold of the ball, but they haven't used the ball very well either.
Well, they played Reid into play, and as you rightly said, Ryan O'Keefe is playing a tagging role on Maloney. Now, the Sydney coaching staff would have known Maloney had a free rein last week and was their best player. Michael Voss needs to just tell his troops now, grab a opponent. The other one is Lewis Jetta. We looked at him. He's had the 6 disposals, but they're all been handball receives, 5 of the 6. So a simple thing for a young Brisbane Lions player is to say, finger in the back, wherever Jetta goes, you go, and cut down his handball receives, and you'll have a contest.
Well, Barry Hall's had a front row seat downstairs. He'd love to be in that forward 50 today, Hawley, I reckon.
Oh, look, it'd be great, some of the service they're getting. And look, I guess from Michael Voss's point of view, they seem to be going head-to-head with Sydney's midfield, which is a dangerous proposition. When you look at the stock Sydney's got in there, they're getting smacked at the moment. This could really get ugly unless there's a change in there. The forward line's working beautifully, as you spoke about. Sammy Reid's taking everything that's coming to him. But that man there, Mike Pike, he's been fantastic. He's kicked 2 goals, had 4 possessions, and I'll say Mike Pike again, just for Roosie.
Thanks, Ollie. Good work. I think you're right about the midfield, though, head-to-head. I mean, and here it is, Merritt, who's now going to Reid. But I just don't think you can let the talent of the Swans. Kieran Jack's had 13, Dan Hanbury's had 10, O'Keefe's had 10, Parker's 8, Malcheski's 8, McVeigh's 7, Kennedy's 7. So they're just getting far too much of the football.
Second quarter from the SCG. Leuenberger climbs up high and gave an opportunity for Maloney. But he was going the wrong way, but he can get it now. And
what's better?
Yep.
He put his head over the ball and tried to win his own ball.
And was happy to share it with McGrath, who found a way through a couple, but this confusion reigned for a moment. Pike just hacked it forward into the 50. Merritt, Goods, full-chested came after him. Maloney dished quickly and hoped for the best. Golby. And now they can get a little bit of run about them perhaps, and things might open up. The kick goes into Zorko from Mays. Now Brown. Just over the head of Paparone. He gets a second crack at it, but there's a whistle already, and it's a Sydney ball.
I know fans tend to like to see that play on footy, Spud, but to me it's just reckless from the Lions. I mean, the handball receiver coming past has got to know what's... And Jonathan Brown's an experienced player. He knew when he took the ball, he's the key forward, so he obviously knew. He just kicked it straight back to the Swans, and we're seeing that time and time again. He's another example.
Now, that high ball, that's going to come back with interest if they continue that high ball from Brisbane.
Hanley. He was waiting. There was good play from Hanley. Unfortunately, Paparone couldn't hold on.
Well, it was great play because he lowered his eyes. He saw the first one go in and said, that's not going to work against the Sydney defence. Have a look at Leuenberger here, Rosie. The lack of work rate there. The big ruckman Leuenberger in the middle. He should be looking to shepherd now. Look, he's calling for the ball. He's a big body. Get in and shepherd. And that's why McGrath was confused there. There's no connection.
Shepherd or spread. He just sort of stood there. Didn't do either.
Oh, Brown a little off balance. Did well not to give away the free. Kennedy, good service for Hanbury. And he can kickstart the Swans again. They're outnumbered here, so Lions need to use those numbers to advantage, or Swans take care of each other. Big Mumford ran into Kieran Jack. Delayed handball from Zorko was good. Golby and Lester to the square. Brown, look, they're going to come from every angle. Bit of a last man standing situation. Buick kept it alive for Lester.
Great tackle.
Into the ground. In the back. Sydney crowd can't quite
well, I thought it was a great tackle in the last minute.
The first one was,
he dropped his knees beautifully. So, and he did draw the free kick there, Lester, into the side this week.
Yeah, the first tackle was all right, and the second tackle, they've been playing that all the time. I don't have a problem with that. There's no point in jumping on the guy's back. Just grab his jumper and hold the ball in.
So Lester strolls in, should put it through from there, and he does. And that's some promise for the Lions. They've kicked the first to the second.
Well, we started with a bit more vigour. And it started with Maloney in the midfield. He drew a free kick, so all of a sudden he gets his hands on the ball, the key midfielder. And that was great playing from Leicester, because I think he no doubt put the ball in initially and he followed his work in there, and it's great work rate. A little bit more connection there from the Sydney forwards. There was a great tackle from Richards, and then Grundy was very clumsy. Sorry, Matner, sorry. Very clumsy there. But that's a very promising start for Brisbane. Just need to see consecutive goals to build their confidence.
Yeah, I think let's give a tick to Maloney. We tailed him up in the first quarter, all right. He started off really well. So hopefully he's now sort of said, okay, I'll put that one behind me, that first quarter. I got beaten 10-2 in possessions and work rate. I think he's 3-0 in the second quarter. He's still got to control O'Keefe and go and win the ball, work both ways. But it's a good response from Maloney.
Leuenberger started well as well.
Free kick goes his way. You can see some of the second quarter numbers have moved towards Brisbane. They were very one-sided in the first. Look at Rampy with that initiative out of defence. Wanted the ball, got the ball, gave it to Jeddah. He's off and bouncing. The crowd are getting to their feet. They're a little disappointed because he handballed. And didn't make life all that easy. Tough one for Adcock, and they paddle it back through Rockcliffe and Golby and Adcock again and Merritt. And then just pausing with Polkinghorne. He gets called down the line and was able to get it down and find Mays. Is starting to come into the game a little bit. Mays kicks up to the 50. Oh, early leg from Richards. Brown came over the top with a towering grab.
Yeah, well, Richards went up before acceptances there. Jonathan Brown read it the best, and we know he's a beautiful long kick.
Well, I think at least there he got a run at it. It wasn't just a bomb ball on top of his head. The previous forward 50 entry was just a lob on top of a pack of 8. At least Jonathan Brown got a run at it and was able to run and jump.
Speaking of run at it, he's gone back a long way.
Fair run up, isn't it? He's on the wing.
And as Denny said, he is a beautiful kick of the footy, and he's shown that for so many years. Been able to land them from outside 50. Not sure about the connection that time. Gave everyone a chance to run at it. Matner gets taken to ground. Smith to Rampy, got the hands free, didn't panic. Malcheski, time and space, and then blasted away out to the wing. Cornelius to come over the top, and Golby gathers. And at least they've got the ball in their forward half.
Yeah. Well, they've had 29 disposals to 10 at the start of this quarter.
Brown again the target. Maybe spoiled his teammate Longer's opportunity.
Just that long kick, Hutto's not going to work. That bomb kick into the... They've got to find a way to separate. They're better to put it out fat side, Spud, and just let the forward run on. The one sitting on top of the head's not going to work against Grundy and Richards.
Yo completed the first step well. All he could really manage was that, and it wasn't a bad effort under the circumstances. Zorko been given no room to move today, and they're off again. Jack placed the kick. McVeigh's clear inside the 50. He couldn't jam the ball into boot, though.
Great tackle by, I think it was Adcock.
Yeah,
Great
it was.
Tackle.
Hanley's in there as well. Well, another bounce.
They're starting to run. They're winning their own ball, but they're running 13 handballs to 7 in Brisbane's favour, which is equated to 7 inside 50s to 1. But you're right, Rosie, the entry inside the forward 50 for the Brisbane Lions, they need to be more precise.
Yeah. Look, and they've been more physical, so it's been a good adjustment. Obviously, Bossy wouldn't have been happy at quarter time, so at least they've come out with a bit more vigour. But that's it. Now they've got to capitalise on their effort.
McVeigh and Yo, Leicester gets it through Big Leuenberger's hands. Hanley always darting one way or the other. O'Keefe, Hanley, good confronting stuff from the Lions. Trying to mix it in there with the Swans and forcing the 50-50 and the ball up. And so the ruckman tangling again. McVeigh. Finally it was Rockcliffe got the handball away. Bird. Lots of tight stuff in there. Nothing all that meaningful so far. Golby gets it out. They were getting further away from goal. They still are backtracking all the way to Patfull, who needs an out. Didn't like what was on this side, so in the end just manages a bit of a scramble to the other half forward flank. Jeddah sends it back again, and it's threatening. Tap down came from Reid. Well done, Kennedy.
Better from Merritt. Good attack.
Smith got it under his command eventually. McVeigh kept everyone guessing and then delivered the ball into the middle, and it was marked in the end, somehow marked by Bolton.
Well, that's the difference. You just see there, they're backing themselves in with skill. They're looking for the best option inside your forward 50. And the 200 gamer, what a great kick.
He's a great decision maker, Jared McVeigh. Just summed that up absolutely beautiful. But that all come about because Sydney wouldn't let Lions rebound the ball. Continued pressure coming out of the Lions defensive 50. Eventually they turned the ball over. Eventually Jude Bolton shot a goal. And not a great shot of goal.
Shocker.
He's actually normally a pretty good kick, Jude. But that was classic Swans football. Even though the Lions got the ball out of that stoppage, it was the Swans just putting pressure on, pressure on, pressure on. Every one of their players knows their responsibility when the opposition gets the ball, and they're all prepared to put pressure on the opposition. Spud, you touched that on that pre-game.
Golby in the back pocket.
You know, I think that Geelong game 2 weeks ago, they looked at it, and whilst they scored heavily, Geelong did as well. And it was unlike Sydney.
Cornelius came late to affect the score. He's not happy either. You see him waving his arms around at his teammate Yo. For the kick. Getting back into position now, and the boundary umpire brings it in. Longer working against Mumford. Little dance from Rockcliffe to try and get himself into the clear. Longer. It's going to come back to Rockcliffe, or is it downfield handball?
Yeah, downfield.
Crossfield, really.
Downfield handball. The movement up in the forward line, you're right, Cornelius needs to get on his bike, a couple of these Brisbane forwards, because it's just a kick to 3 teammates and 3 defenders.
That was a more promising move, but clamped on straight away. Jack.
But then the first guy there is a Swans guy. That's what the work rate, Hutto. So if there's a 50-50 ball, the Lions are doing okay, Spud, but the third man in is always a Swans player that comes to help first before a Lions player gets there.
And piece by piece they go forward again. Look at the running of Kieran Jack. He was involved in the initial handball.
17 disposals now for Kieran Jack.
Well, you look at the contrast on the two sides in forward entries. The Lions just keep bombing it away, and the Swans are they're lowering their eyes, using it very smart, and they're way more efficient going forward.
Here's Hanbury's had a quiet second quarter after 10 in the first.
You're absolutely right, Hawley. The Lions just in the first 5 minutes haven't had value for effort. They're just bombing it in, and Grundy and Richards are very, very good at helping each other out. Mattner's fantastic at floating across and providing an extra spoiler. So unless they can figure that out, they're not going to kick too many more goals.
It's been a bigger struggle for them, though. The Swans in this quarter to be able to try and kick a goal. So it's one thing in Brisbane's favour.
Yeah, but if it turns into an arm wrestle, it's really going to suit Sydney as well. You know, they've kicked the 7 goals in the first quarter, as we talked about. If it turns into an arm wrestle and a stoppage, and you know that's the game's played on Sydney's terms.
Well, it is, but I guess it's better for them than what we saw in the first quarter.
No doubt.
Yeah, I think they've sorted a few things out, Hutto. You're right. At least there's a contest now. It's just that there it is again. Just a blazing away from Pierce Hanley. Now, if Swans had got that ball from the stoppage, you would have seen a couple of handballs and some better ball use. The problem is at the moment is just tidying up the ball use.
Mattner, now Malcheski, and it's open for him through the middle. McVeigh leading back to goal. Adcock careful, didn't really know where to go, and McVeigh couldn't mark it, and well done Redden. And the Lions dodge one there. Maloney, they're trying to link up by hand, but it's all a bit hard and a bit scrappy at the moment. Hanley, nice little manoeuvre, gets around Goods. Very Irish looking kick, just a little solo. Get it across nicely to Maloney.
Just how instinctive the Swans are at their defensive stuff. Like that rebound, Hutto, should have come all the way. But the Swans work so hard when they haven't got the football. But now the Lions, having rebounded the ball up to the wing, have had to go backwards because the Swans defensive stuff,
Through the corridor, Longer almost. Leicester, good backup crew on this occasion. Polkinghorn, this is better movement. Still they're really not helping the next player enough, not putting them in the best position. And the Swans are able to shut them down one more time through the middle.
Yep, exactly.
At least they were trying to take the game on.
Yep.
They were trying to take the game on there, Brisbane, through the corridor. But again, it was just the class of the Sydney Swans owning that corridor.
Golby's had 6 disposals. Rockcliffe and Maloney 5 each in this quarter for Brisbane.
Look, there's no doubt they've been tougher. The contested possessions 22-12. So you're right, Hutto. I think they're better in this situation, at least testing themselves one-on-one and at least restricting the opposition. they're clearly not going to win the game because they won't make up 5 goals, but they could creep closer and closer and at least make it a contest in the last quarter and give themselves a chance.
Well, Reid having it in there, but it was all Brisbane back in defence. Clark drives for the wing, and Buick, he's been a pretty handy player for them this year. He's developing. Oh, Leicester went in hard, actually. Merritt, McGrath, back to Yo. Better watch out from behind, being stalked. Picked up nicely, though, by McGrath. O'Keefe almost took it going back with the flight. Swans converge on the ball, and combative stuff from Redden. Hanbury was able to dig it out of there, though, and he gets another opportunity now, does Dan Hanbury. Couldn't handle quick enough. O'Keefe on top of it. Pressure was applied by Zorko and Maloney. Richards. Hanbury again. Busy as ever. To half forward. Big battle there between Bolton and Yo. The youngster wins the day. Buick. Here we're seeing another chain of Brisbane handballs, but they're all rushed, aren't they?
Yeah.
Swans players are coming at them from the angles. Hanbury again, he's going nuts at the moment. Off to Jack. Here's Hanbury again. 3rd touch in a row. Working it nicely. Kennedy and into the pocket, and finally, by sheer force of numbers, they get it in there and the opportunity.
And that's that slingshot football that Kingy, I think, was talking about before the game. Once again, a lot of pressure around the ball. Forwards coming up the ground, helping out, creating a turnover, and then all of a sudden you've got Luke Parker runs back into space and a nice kick over the top.
So Parker, the Swans actually looking for their first. It's taken 14 minutes in the second term, and there it is.
It's just a class factor in the end, isn't it? It's just the experience of, and they've been very honest this quarter, the Brisbane Lions. They've won the contested ball, they've even won the uncontested possessions, but just the polish and just that extra class midfielder around the outskirts, and then just the ability to get forward and the entries in this quarter. Sydney have really lifted over after Brisbane started really well in the start of this second quarter, but Sydney have had the last 6 inside 50s now.
But I think you can cop this second quarter as a coach for Michael Voss. I think this is exactly what he would have hoped for. All right, it's going to be a struggle. They're a super physical team, the Swans. At least in this second quarter, they've matched it. It's just been the polish, and as you said, and the raw talent advantage that goes to the Sydney Swans.
Redden. Matner's in there. O'Keefe. And the umpire decides to break it up with a free kick.
Yeah.
O'Keefe gets it out the back. Jetta. Patfull tries to track it down at half back. Got Reid from one side, Goods from the other to contend with, and the boundary was a pretty good ally there.
Merritt's starting to work into the game with Reid. Reid had 8 disposals in the first quarter on the youngster, and he's only had the one possession this quarter, Reid.
Pike dragged it down. Kennedy. Parker. Polkinghorn. Oh, it all falls for Kennedy, and the goal beckon, another one's through.
Yeah. I never ever like it, Spud, when guys just willy-nilly hit the ball off the ground. It's just fraught with danger. And you look at the spread here. Now this is what Joey Kennedy's attitude is going. There he is at the stoppage. He gets the first disposal out, and where's his opponent? His opponent lets him run unimpeded into the forward line, and then a reckless punch out. But where is his opponent? Where is the release from the stoppage by the Lions player? Maintaining that one-on-one contact. Just not there.
14 disposals for Josh Kennedy. Yeah, Polkinghorn there. He didn't have to go to ground by choice. He elected himself to go to ground, and all he could do was spike the ball straight to Josh Kennedy.
Yeah. Great endeavour from both Parker and Redden that time, and it's going to go Sydney's way. McGlynn and Jack is up to 19 disposals now. Precarious position for the Lions. McGrath needs to handle it well. Kicks it out to the wing. Zorko was there to try and give him something. Diligent from Nick Smith. Back for O'Keefe again, just legged.
Look, Maloney fought his way back in the start of this quarter, but Ryan O'Keefe's now back on top, giving him a lesson in work rate again. both sides of the football. That's where Maloney, I really rate him as a player, offensive player, Spud. He's very good around the clearances, but the next level for him to go to as a player is to restrict. Ryan O'Keefe's now up to 16. It's 16 versus 8. So he's just got to get better at the two-way running.
Well, we'll get a great indication at the end of the game, won't we? Because
you will.
You know more than any with Ryan O'Keefe and his endurance.
He's going to keep running.
Well, Hanbury got a shove in the back there from Polkinghorne.
Yeah, Maloney will definitely know he's played a game of football today in the endurance stakes.
Trying to sum it all up, Hanbury. Top of the square. Look at them come out, stampeding from the goal square. Reed for a moment looked likely. Mumford, Rockcliffe at least kept it low, so it wasn't going to be an easy ball to mark if there had been a Swans player. Hanbury, Goods. Melcheski, clever. Opened it up for Parker. Not a bad tactic with there's so many numbers around. Yeah. Just a little slap.
Well, they're starting to get on top again with the sort of 50-50 balls, but also just spreading the ball around a bit with hands. This is good. We saw Brown do this in the first quarter. Just come up the ground here, get involved in the game. There's no point in Brownie, as much as you want him staying inside 50 to kick goals. Get him involved, get him up the ground, and at least drag a good defender in Grundy out of the defensive 50.
Good scrambling by Cornelius to smother that and allow Leuenberger to get in, get involved. Paparone to half forward. Mays is there, long shot, and it's through for a behind.
But that's that inferred pressure there.
Yeah, he'll learn from that.
Plenty of times, but and as you said, he'll learn from that. You're not worried about that, but that's maybe the guy around him just yelling at him. You've got plenty of time, run in, bounce. He probably could have had an easy shot from 30 out.
It was actually Mays kicking to Paparone, who kicked the behind into the 50. Look at that from Daniel Merritt. Kennedy with an opportunity. Hanley. They just need to be a little bit cleaner, don't they? It's easy to say, but such as the inferred pressure of the Swans that...
Yeah, but at least Michael Voss at half-time can say to his players, you've had one-on-one competition all around the ground and you can start coaching players through situations. In the first quarter, you wouldn't have known who was on who because it was just an uncontested game of football. So at least now we've got a contest.
Parker was about to be hunted down. Reed, well up the ground, obviously. Hanley back across half-back.
I think there's a bit about that too, Spud. It's just now identifying. Hanbury's had another 11 in the second quarter, so you probably now got to start to go, Vossi, head-to-head. Right, your contest now is against Hanbury. It's against Kennedy, and we'll see how you go in the second half.
Leicester, Leuenberger. Here comes Teddy Richards, charging hard at it. Cornelius Bolton to McVeigh. It was swift, it was quicker than the Lions could react. They've got numbers back. Clark, you could see the tension for him. He was desperately lunging, and so was Hanley. That's a good effort to get it through for a behind.
Yeah, well, Justin Clark, again, he's playing his second league game, and when he gets a bit stronger in the mind, he'll hold his feet. You know, under pressure, and he's under enormous pressure. Let's face it, he didn't have a great start on Sam Reid, but it'll be great for his development to see where he is in 2 years' time compared to today.
Hanley went searching for Longer.
So even that kick gives Longer a bit more of a chance. It's out in front. Very hard to spoil with the chopping the arms rule and the hands in the back. So they've got to give their tall targets. I know that's way up the ground, but they've got to give their tall targets inside 50 more of an opportunity to mark the ball.
Maloney from the side. Matner came. Man left standing was Paparone. Here's Zorko. Only had an instant to sum it up, and that's exactly what he did. Puts it through, executed the kick beautifully.
Well, that was a really good build-up. They kicked to a one-on-one. The ball was completed. They had numbers to the fore of the ball. The ball spilled over the back, and it was great play there from Paparone over the top, and the starter there from Longer. Yeah, it was definitely a free kick there to Longer against Heath Grundy, chopping the arms. But it was a really good build-up there.
Yeah, much better second quarter, Spud. They've certainly given a lot better effort around the contest, and they're still not using the ball super flash, but they're evened out the contest now, and at least they're giving themselves a chance to score.
Dane Zorko puts Brisbane's third goal on the board.
I mean, they're 37 to 27 contested possessions in this quarter, so that's a really big tick for the Lions against a very good contested ball team.
Another crack. Mumford having a word there to Jeff Dalglish, the umpire, about his bouncing skills.
So the contested ball for the game. Sydney are only 5 up now. In the first quarter, they were 15-20 up. So they've really worked hard into the game, but they will still rue that start. But as you said, Michael Voss at half-time, he's still got a bit to work with. He's got to give his team and individuals plenty of challenges out there.
And Hanley's the one who's showing some dash. His 7th disposal for the quarter. Brown got into the right spot. Grundy just worried him out of it. Now he's laying a tackle on Brown.
It's a great follow-up there by Grundy. Really good follow. Didn't concede.
He comes in again for the Lions. Paparone. Again, keeping the defenders guessing. Armstrong drawing 3 or 4 lines around.
There's a lot to like about Marco Paparone. He's going to build, he's going to grow into that body. He's 194 centimetres, he's only 86 kilograms, so, he's going to get to about 95, 96. He looks like he's got some footy smarts.
With him and Mays, they might have found a couple, which they really need as they continue to build. O'Keefe hoping for an outlet out the back.
Well, that's the thing, Spud. Clearly they're in a different phase to the Sydney Swans. The Sydney Swans are the current premiers and trying to go back-to-back. The Lions are trying to unearth the next group of superstars, and they're physically not as well developed as the Swans, but they've got some really good young talent.
And when you've got, that's well done.
Free kick.
And when you've got young talent, it's easy to coach them through one-on-one situations instead of trying to play a team, uncontested style like it was in the first quarter. You could see they were all at sea in their mindset. Yeah, too high there.
Just slipped up a bit. I guess I know Rich is not playing, but Brisbane, while they're waiting for those youngsters to come through, they really need a Rockcliffe and Red and that age group to stamp themselves as quality elite midfielders. Still a bit to go for them. Here's one of them, Jack Redden, poking it through, and that chips the margin back to 36 points.
Well, they've won the quarter so far. We've got 2.5 minutes to go. They've won the quarter. They've had 3 less inside 50s. They've kicked the 3 goals, 1. Can't do anything about the first quarter. That's done and dusted. So need to build on that. And their work rate, as we said, it's been a hell of a lot better. And it's been their starting points. I've really liked to see their midfielders, the defenders, even the half forwards. Arm across your direct opponent. When the ball's in your area, you go hard at it. They've been able to do that. They've really simplified it for each other.
Well, it's probably no better example than Maloney. We've talked about it a couple of times. At least he's squaring the second quarter. Started off well. Ryan O'Keefe got on top in the second quarter, but he's bounced back again. So at least he's got a chance now to judge his game against Ryan O'Keefe's. First quarter got towed up, second quarter better.
McVeigh got it in there. Mark not paid. Hanley again with the dash and the run. Good to see from a Lions point of view. Pat Valeri is
well done, Hanley.
Receiving it again, sending it forward, showing some leadership for his teammates, trying to inspire them. Brown, McGrath get in on the act, into the 50. The Lions are coming here under some pressure. Paparone maybe just rushed the kick a bit. McGrath comes again. Nick Smith though, the wilting run for the Swans. Nice stuff from Bird, crossed the defensive 50 and now to Jetta.
You've got to admire Pierce Hanley. He's the leading possession getter for Brisbane. He's making something happen out of the back half. He's getting plenty of work down there, but he's not afraid to take the game on.
He's quick, isn't he? He's just a bit ragged with his possessions, but I tell you, it's attack on the ball and his run is fantastic.
Zorko waited till his man got to the right spot, and Redden is...
Yeah, they're the ones they can't afford to miss, really, can they? I mean, they've only had 6 scoring shots, so you can't afford to miss the 25-metre directly in front on the run shot a goal.
Smith, and now Kennedy.
Well, the entry previous, it was the first passage of play with some real surety for the Brisbane Lions. They've certainly improved since the first quarter, but they had some leading forwards coming up with the footy. They had some run out the back line. That's exactly what they need to get back in this game.
Hanley and Hanbury looking at each other rather than the footy. And it goes Sydney's way. McVeigh delivered it on a plate for Goods. Out to meet it.
Kieran Jack running hard.
And going to be rewarded for that run. And he'll go on. He can handball over the top, which he duly does. And Bolton, right on the end of it, putting through a goal that Sydney needed.
Oh, that was a great play. Kieran Jack just about the best player on the ground. He's come up to disposal number 20. He could have hit the scoreboard, but he looked up and thought, nah, there's a player in a better position, I'll give it to you. And that's what it's all about. And it's just a minute there. You can see the Brisbane Lions half forwards here. They just spectated the ball a little bit. All of a sudden, Adam Goods is there. You just can't see on the left of camera. You can just see young Clark. He's spectating. He's thinking, okay, the player wasn't my man, but on that occasion it was. You just got to be in the game at all times.
But that's also that one-on-one stuff you've talked about, Spud. Where was his direct opponent?
Yep.
Where was Kieran Jack's direct opponent? It's that slingshot football that they would have known about. They would have watched it on the tape during the week, but they didn't cope with it in that situation. They haven't coped with it that well in the first half.
40 out from goal, and that's deemed a throw. Potentially a couple of late goals going to really sting here.
Yeah,
Well, it will. And the thing about Sydney Swans, they're so hard to defend against because they've kicked 10 goals. You've got 8 different goal kickers, so there's no go-to player.
Yeah, their midfielders are so damaging. Kennedy's kicked a goal, Hanbury's kicked a goal, O'Keefe's kicked a goal, Parker's kicked a goal.
Bolton comes through, and he's kicked 1 goal free. That free kick, that replay certainly didn't appear to be a throw.
No, there's nothing in it.
Thankfully, he's missed the shot in that case. 42 points the margin.
But you're right with Bolton. That's uncharacteristic from him. 1 goal 3. He normally at least 2-2.
The siren sounds, and at half-time, a much better quarter from the Lions. They're outscored 3 goals 4 to 3 goals 2, and the margin is 42 points at the half.
Yeah, look, much better effort. There's no question in that quarter, but still probably too high the numbers. Hanbury 12 that quarter, Kennedy 10. It's just now about the Brisbane Lions midfield is just saying, okay, well, this is my man, and if it changes, Spud, then you take the next man. But I think at the moment they're just a bit messy through that area. Look, they're a lot better with their contested football. Their ball use going forward still not great. So, but it's certainly a vast improvement in the second quarter to the first quarter. So it's 3 goals 4 in the second quarter, 3 goals 2. They only lost that quarter by 2 points. So that's a big tick from the Lions.
Yeah, and they won the contested ball by 10, 44 to 34. And what that translated to was more run. So they knew they were going to win the ball, and they had 46 handball receives to 36. It was a great result.
Well, Barry Hall's just getting one of the co-captains of Brisbane under control down there, Baz.
Yeah, well, a lot better quarter. You won the contested possession. You got your hands on the footy a bit more. You just didn't finish off on the scoreboard, really.
Nah, first quarter they jumped us early. We couldn't get it forward at all, so they were winning everything, really. So it was good. The boys fought back hard, got in and under, tackled well. I'm just going to bring it earlier in the second half now. So.
Was that the main message from Vossi at quarter time?
It was just continue to improve on our contested possession, voice and direction. We want to be, but not swear, we've got to be loud out here. So obviously beating Sydney, but just contested possession, keep working it forward.
Good luck in the second half.
Thanks, Barry. Interesting thoughts there from Jed Adcock at half-time. A lot to talk about coming up, boys, about how Brisbane can maybe get back in this game.
Yeah, I think it's just about, we've talked about, it's just about saying, well, this is my opponent, identify. There was a lot to like. Obviously, the Swans are hardened. In raw talent, they're more talented than the Brisbane Lions. We know that. It's just now Vossi's about finding what players are going to listen to instructions, finding the players who are going to win those one-on-one contests.
I think the game plan A was out the window at quarter time, and game plan B is a really simplified one for a young team like Brisbane, just giving their teammates a direct opponent and go from there.
All right, we're off for a break here. Half-time at the SCG. It's a beautiful day for footy, and if you're a Swans fan, you'll be enjoying it. It's a 42-point margin, 10-8-68 to 4-2-26.